What if I told you that right now, you might be mentally stronger than almost everyone around you, and you have no idea? Not the person who never cries. Not the loudest voice in the room. Not the one who always says, "I'm fine." For years, we've been told that mental strength looks like confidence. Like someone who never breaks, never doubts, never feels pain. But psychology tells a completely different story. Abraham Lincoln battled depression his entire life. He called it his worst enemy. He wrote letters about wanting to disappear, yet he led an entire nation through its most destructive war. Frida Kahlo spent years trapped in a hospital bed in constant physical pain. Doctors told her she would never walk. She went on to create art the entire world still can't forget. So what made them strong? It wasn't the absence of pain. It wasn't perfect confidence. It was something silent, something invisible, something happening on the inside. Today I'll share 7 silent signs that research says you are mentally stronger than you realize. This is inner control psychology. Let's begin. Sign 1, you feel emotions deeply, but you don't act on every single one. Most people think mental strength means having no emotions, no fear, no sadness, no anxiety, feeling nothing. That is completely wrong. Research from the University of California shows that the most resilient people are actually among the most sensitive. The difference? They observe their emotions. They don't obey them. You feel the anger, but you wait before you speak. You feel the fear, but you still take the step. That pause between feeling and reacting is pure psychological power. Most people never develop it. If you have even a little, that is already a sign of tremendous inner strength. Sign 2, you don't need everyone to understand you. Psychologically weak people constantly change what they say based on who's listening. They can't sleep if someone is upset with them. Their mood depends completely on other people's moods. But psychologist Martin Seligman's research shows something powerful. People who believe their life is controlled from the inside, not from outside approval, are dramatically more mentally resilient. If you've ever made a decision nobody around you understood, and you stayed with it anyway, that isn't stubbornness. That is inner control. That is exactly what this channel is named after. Sign 3, you can sit with discomfort without running from it. Think about the last time you felt bored, lonely, anxious. What did you do? Most people immediately grab their phone, scroll, distract, anything to escape the feeling. But neuroscience shows that the brain grows stronger when it learns to tolerate discomfort, not avoid it. Brain imaging studies show that people who can sit with negative feelings without immediately reacting actually develop a stronger prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and self-control. If you can feel something painful and not immediately run from it, your brain is already more powerful than most people's. Sign 4, you don't perform your pain for everyone. Here's one that surprises people. Psychologically strong people are very selective about who they open up to, not because they're hiding, but because they've learned something most people haven't. Carl Jung called it psychic energy. Every time you retell your pain to every person who will listen, your brain relives it. It can't fully separate memory from experience. You keep reopening the wound. Strong people process deeply, but privately. If you don't feel the need to tell everyone what you're going through, that isn't coldness or weakness. That is emotional intelligence at its highest level. Sign 5. You can say, "I was wrong," without falling apart. This sounds simple. It is not. Most people would rather keep a wrong opinion than admit a mistake. Because in the brain, admitting you're wrong activates the same pain response as physical injury. The ego resists it automatically. But research from Stanford shows that people who can say, "I was wrong, I learned from it," demonstrates significantly higher psychological resilience over time. Saying "I was wrong" isn't losing. It's one of the most powerful things a mentally strong person can do. Sign 6. You protect your peace, even from people you love. Most people feel guilty for this, but here is the truth. Mentally strong people have learned that saying no to someone, even someone close to them, isn't cruelty, it's self-respect. Studies on emotional boundaries consistently show that people who protect their psychological space report lower anxiety, stronger mental health, and higher life satisfaction, even when it created temporary tension in their relationships. If you've ever walked away from something that was hurting you, even when it was difficult, even when people didn't understand, that took more strength than most people around you will ever show. Sign 7. You keep going when absolutely nobody is watching. This is the most important sign of all. Most people are driven by external validation, a comment, a compliment, someone noticing their effort. When the applause stops, so do they. But psychologist Angela Duckworth studied thousands of people across years. Her research on grit found one pattern that kept repeating. The most resilient people were not the most talented. They were the ones who kept moving in silence. When nobody was watching, when nothing was guaranteed, when there was no reward in sight. If you've ever worked on yourself quietly, with no audience, no applause, no one to see, that is the deepest, most powerful form of inner strength that exists. Mental strength doesn't look like what the world shows you. It's not the loudest person. It's not the one who never hurts. The world rewards performance, but real strength is silent. It's the feeling you didn't react to, the opinion you didn't chase. The opinion you didn't chase. This the feeling you didn't react to, the pain you processed privately, the peace you protected, the mistake you admitted, the quiet work nobody ever saw. If even one of these signs felt familiar to you, your inner control is already working. You just needed someone to show it to you. If this hits something in you, subscribe to Inner Control Psychology. Every week, we go deeper into the silent patterns that shape exactly who you are.